Hello, hello. How are we doing today, everybody? I hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday so far. I know I am. It's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy weekend. It's been a fun weekend. All the playoffs have been just off and running, and it's been absolutely incredible. We're going to get you caught up on all the things that have been happening so far in the NBA and NHL playoffs. Have a couple big stories as well. Golf has a couple big stories with Phil getting a win on a tournament that it's kind of a historic, win for him based off of some of the things that, have been going on there. So yeah, it's been wild. So we have a lot to talk about here on this episode of the Action Lab. So already, let's go. Let's talk it up. Mayday, help you enjoying your weekend. Welcome back, my friend. What's up, boys? Let's see the Phillies win. Let's see. Phillies won, Sixers won, Mets lost, Avs won. Good day. First, Connie Mack, 2 scoreless, tying run, RBI double. Man, it's been a big day for you, huh? It's been a fantastic day overall. So I'll take it. You're obviously Mayday's a big Philly guy. So you're gonna see, we're gonna be talking some playoffs. Definitely got a big win in the NBA with the Philadelphia 76ers taking a 1-0 lead there. So we're gonna get caught up there. By the way, my name is Chris. I am your host for the Action Lab. Also, we have my co-host Scotty, who is running a little behind. He's actually on a little anniversary dinner right now. And actually, he's all done. He's going to be hitting us up here in a little bit. So, when you get back, when he gets back in here in the next, I would say, few minutes or so, I think he might be popping in soon. We'll get him all added in, and we'll make sure that he is jumping in and having some fun with us because we have a big show tonight. Mayday, yeah, woke up at 7:45, driving an hour to Boyertown. What are you doing over there, Mayday? What do you got going? Let me know. What you got? You got some weekend plans? What's going on? So we're just we're getting off and running here and getting things going now. Man, we didn't catch you since the last Wednesday show where we had the big as that show was finishing up, we had the whole Laker thing that was going down with Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. So ended up having the Lakers come in and make the postseason after all. So the Lakers are playing Phoenix Suns. We'll talk about that series. We saw the first game of that go down today. I have a funny LeBron James meme that I can't wait to show you guys. LeBron James and watching what they did to Golden State and just some of the things that were going on in that game, just kind of crack you up a little bit. But we'll talk about that here a little bit later as well. But let me know how you guys are doing this weekend. What are your thoughts? What kind of whether it's the NHL, Major League Baseball, obviously Mayday's Phillies are doing well right now, so getting a solid win today. But the Rockies, unfortunately, are not doing very well at the moment, so we have some issues there. But the Rockies weren't expected to be good this year, and it's just you kind of hold out hope. Sometimes your team's not going to be good. In the case of like the Colorado Rockies, and sometimes your team's going to be good preseason, like that Colorado Avalanche. And we have 2 different things going on with both of those teams, which, it is what it is. But we'll take the Avalanche winning today. We're going to cover that, but they end up advancing to their first team to advance to the second round of the NHL playoffs, which that's a big deal there. They got some rest because they got a big series coming up here next against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, should the Golden Knights end up closing out that series against Minnesota. So there's a lot going on there. But what did you guys get into this weekend? Let me know, because, I by the way, real quick, I don't want you guys judging me, but I got into something I haven't gotten into ever this weekend. And this was kind of a new thing for me. I didn't really expect to jump into this. And it was kind of a random thing that started in the middle of the week that kind of culminated to me getting this new thing going. And that happens to be, I started some gardening. Now, I don't want you guys to judge me. This is a sports show. And I know gardening, like what? Why are you getting into gardening? So I watched a masterclass, by the way. Masterclass, it's you see those where you have all these different. Steph Curry has a masterclass on playing basketball. There's some poker masterclasses. There's cooking masterclasses, music, a little bit of everything. You can find anything on that platform, and they're very good classes. Don't get me wrong, I love all of them, but I definitely got into something that I haven't gotten into, and that's doing some gardening. So I actually have this new thing going where I took one of my, snake plants that I've had. I've never done this before in my life, but I multiplied it out and made like 5 different snake plants. It's not important. The thing is it was new for me this weekend, and I had a lot of fun doing it. If there's anything, let me know what's the most random thing you did just randomly? Like that just all of a sudden you were like, I want to do this, or I want to learn this, or like, it's kind of weird, but that's kind of what happened to me over the course of this past weekend. And so I just thought I'd share that with you guys, because, we're all family here, right? Dev in chat, I hate the fact that every hockey game has gone into OT before the Avs game, and we end up only watching the third period. That sucks. Yeah, by the way, this has been an issue for me too, because I have YouTube TV. YouTube TV is one of those where they don't have certain networks unless you pay for them. Now, I don't pay for the premium version of YouTube TV with NHL network. I have, which I thought I did for some reason, but there's the NHL network, the NFL, so I get with YouTube TV, NFL network, NBA, and MLB networks. But for some reason, I don't get that NHL network. So, in the case of the Colorado Avalanche, at least in my market, if you don't have NHL network, you completely miss out on any game that goes into overtime. Deb in chat is pretty much alluding to what I deal with. And I wasn't able to watch, since there was a double overtime game for the Nashville Carolina game. I wasn't able to get into the actual NHL playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche until the third period, I'm sorry. And I was just like, what is happening here? Like, there's got to be multiple networks. Like, they have, they have games on, like, USA, I think, and they have other games on other networks, but you got to figure out how to flex that. You got to figure that out, because not everyone has the NHL network. So, if that's the case, plus, the NHL, for some reason on NBC Sports Network, hasn't exactly, shot over to coverage right away. Like in the NBA or the NFL, they'll literally, the NFL, the game won't even be over and they'll already flex to another game. They'll take a blowout game from a Packers Raiders game, and it's over in the third quarter, and then they'll just flex over to a more competitive game in the middle of a game. Whereas NHL, they'll just sit through the intermission. They won't even tell you highlights. It's kind of crazy. It's just what I see. I'm sure, Deb, you are on the same page as well. But yeah, they won't even really go to the game that you actually want to be on, which is kind of strange. But it's just how they do it. And I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of a they have to have some more priority to get over to that game, regardless if it's intermission or not. They don't give that coverage, which kind of sucks. And then the Nuggets kind of had this happen the other night as well with the game. They are a little bit behind, which, by the way, for some reason, Colorado sports are always on the later side of things when it comes to the time starts of their games. So the Nuggets are usually 8:30 starts or 8 o'clock starts. The Avs they have been 8:30 starts so far. 8 o'clock, 8:30 starts. So today was the earliest game, and that was a 3 o'clock game, at least Mountain Time. So that was nice to be able to see a little bit of that. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting to be on the tail end of that. And man, those games go late. I'm telling you, sometimes it's tough. Mayday, it was on NHL Network to start. It definitely it goes to NHL Network, but for some of us, we don't get some of us don't get NHL Network, which is kind of the problem. Which maybe I just need to just bite the bullet and just pay for it, especially when we get closer to playoff time. This is a lesson learned for next year. So the fact that it's one of those things where if you don't have the premium package on YouTube TV or your streaming service, then you're kind of in trouble. So you have to miss out on the first part of those games. It's just one of those premium channels, So it is, it's just one of those things. So yeah, so Mayday, just a heads up, since I don't have NHL Network, I wasn't able to jump into that game until the third period, which kind of sucked. But you know, what can you do at this point? It's the NHL really needs to work on how. I think NHL is getting bigger and bigger when it comes to like them trying to work out network deals and try to make it better. So I hope that continues to happen because this is the first. They have those contracts. We talked about this on a previous show where between ESPN is part of some of those networks, and then ABC. I think it was NBC, ABC, something along those lines. They were. We'll have to go back and look at those contracts, but yeah, they're shifting over the course of the next 2 or 3 seasons to something bigger. NHL Network is amazing. You get Junior World Cup. Yeah, I haven't actually watched the Junior World Cup, but I know you've mentioned it a couple times, and we're definitely going to have to check that out moving forward. Preds and Canes till the end. That Preds and Canes game, whoo! If you like playoff hockey, so it did end up going double overtime, but man, that thing was back and forth and back and forth. Man, I love the action in that game. The Preds and Hurricanes put on a show today. Double OT, that series is tied 2-2 now. And so, that's going to be a fun one coming down the stretch. That could potentially go 7 games if you blink your eye and all of a sudden you turn around and we're at a game 7, and it's going to be a fun series to keep an eye on. I thought that wasn't going to necessarily be as competitive a series given the fact that the Hurricanes are, pretty solid, and I thought that they would probably put this series away pretty quickly. That has not been the case. The Nashville Predators have come out to play, and they are doing some solid things when it comes to keeping that series nice and even. So between that, you have some games going on right now. I believe Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets are still going on right now. Man, it's a fun time to be a sports fan. I'll tell you that, guys. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. But yeah, it's just getting going. We're not even into the second rounds yet, except for the Colorado Avalanche, obviously, who did their work and put in that time today to make that happen. So we're going to touch on that as well. But yeah, as far as everything else goes, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. This is our Sunday show. Every Sunday, we like to not only cover just the what's going on, just the big stories over the week, and then some of the live games that are going on right now, but we also love to cover some of the Colorado. We're local here in Colorado. In case you're new to the stream, we cover a lot of the the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, and Rockies here a little bit. But we also make this Sunday show open to you guys to talk whatever it is you want. And we have a lot of fans that like to jump in and throw in their 2 cents. Mayday in particular here in the chat loves to talk his Philadelphia teams. We love talking some Phillies. We love talking the 76ers, who had a big game. Love their win. I thought the Philadelphia 76ers did what they had to do to get that first win, that statement game right off the bat. I loved what they did, and it was a nice solid win over Washington, who came in off that last game to make it into the playoffs to be the number 8 seed, but ended up falling into a buzzsaw with the Philadelphia 76ers losing that game in the game 1. So yeah, we'll touch on that as well. But yeah, we talk a little bit about everything here. So we want to make sure that whatever it is you want to talk about, whether that's sports related, whether that's anything else, throw it in the chat. Love to get your participation. Love to hear what you guys have to say. And get any kind of thoughts, hot takes, if you have any. Make sure you put them in there. We'd love to see those. So thanks for being here. Now, we're multi-streaming on 3 different platforms right now. So we're on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. So if you're on any one of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you pound that follow button and make sure that you're getting all of those notifications. Every time we go live, every Wednesday and every Sunday, you get those updates. So all you got to do, it's a one-stop shop. You just push that button there and on your notifications, and you're in the lab with us. You're having some fun with us. So hope you enjoy. Now, I think we have Mr. Scott joining us here in 1 second. So let's get him going here and make sure he is ready to roll with us. So Give me 1 second while we get Scott in the lab here. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go and put on a... Let's see where we're at here. There we go. All right. So, by the way, yeah. So just throw out what you want. What are your thoughts so far? We got first round games. What was your favorite game so far? Maybe that's another question that we can touch on. Is what game so far has been like absolutely incredible that you just couldn't take your eyes off of? I know. So Mayday's already said Preds and Canes has been one of those games that he's really liked watching. I mean, there's been a handful of games. I liked the what was it? There was another game this past week that was really good too. Let me see. Where's Scotty here? All right. Bear with us here while we get Scotty here in real time. Oh, there we go. We're set and ready to roll here. All right. So while Scotty gets all situated, we're going to get you all situated with his video. All right. Say hi to Scotty for me. Make sure you give him some love here. Obviously, he's having a good time struggling getting rolling here, but it is what it is. That's kind of how Scotty, he just comes in and just take your time. Just take your time.
Plugged in. Sorry.
There we go.
All right.
Scotty, welcome to the lab, my friend.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. We just been off and running, man. We got some. We got a lot going here. So, see, we already got some people giving you some love in the chat. So.
Missed you guys on Wednesday as well. Thanks, Dab. Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, Mayday hasn't said anything that he misses you yet, so. Yeah,
I'm sure he doesn't. Ooh, my screen's. I'm like Mr. Freeze tonight. I'm all blued out.
There's nothing wrong with that. You got that. Well, I would say if we're going with the theme of the Avalanche winning their series, you're just covered in snow, that blue snow, maybe. I don't know.
That was an impressive 4-game sweep right there. I didn't think it was going to go 4. I thought best case scenario we're looking at 5, maybe 6, likely, but no, it was a dominating performance for him. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Mayday finishing up some homework. Yeah, see, that's what I appreciate about Mayday. He does his homework while he watches the show. Multitasking. That's something that we all love about Mayday. He
knew he'd be hopping on after the 76ers got a W in their first game today. One that he was probably panicking for a little bit. I mean, that game was a tight one throughout, but I don't know what you've dove into so far, so I don't want to cover something you've already covered. But
no, we've just been diving in a little bit on just some overall ideas for the week. I was telling him a little bit about some of the games. I know Deb brought it up, and then I also dealt with this. But for me, I don't have NHL Network on my programming. So if games go into overtime on NBC Network, it goes to
a disaster.
It's a disaster, and you can't watch games. So if you were trying to watch some of the game today, you weren't able to watch until the third period. For the apps. So it was just one of those little frustrations that I was like, I need to get NBC, I need to get NHL Network next year. And Mayday's like, you got to get NHL Network. It's amazing. And you get the Junior World Cup, which he's told us about multiple times.
Yep. Yeah, no, I was lucky. I was at work, so I had my TV in my office and had some on the NHL Network. I was also flipping with the PGA Championship a little. Obviously Phil getting the win, the oldest guy to ever win a major championship in golf. I've been a devout Phil hater for most of his career. I have hated Phil more than any other golfer on tour. But the last few years, I've come around a little bit where I wouldn't say I cheer for him, but I don't hate him like I used to.
Yeah.
But what I hate is people trying to compare this achievement to Tiger winning the Masters in 2019, because those don't compare to me. Like Tiger, like couldn't walk a year before that, and had like a back fusion and has like 337 surgeries. So to me, that's a little more impressive than Phil, who's pretty much been healthy throughout, which, you know, is fortune and whatever. But anyway, still a sweet accomplishment for him. You know, good for him. He rocks shades. All the, like, there's just things about Phil that drive me nuts. Like him wearing sunglasses on the course, and the sunglasses he chooses every time. Like it could be overcast and raining, and those sunglasses are on. It's just, he's kind of a weird dude and quirky dude. But I used to not like him because, one, he's left-handed. Two, when he was a little chunkier, he just wore shirts that were 2 sizes too small. And 3, it drove me nuts that he would double bogey a hole back in the day, and he would just have like go to the next hole with a big smile on his face. And I'm like, dude, show some like emotion, show like real, be real. Like, I don't know, hit your club. But he's been a little more real. A couple years ago, he like was so frustrated on a course, his putt like went blew by the hole and was still rolling, and he was so mad that he went and putted it, hit it again before it even stopped moving. He was that mad, which is, by the way, not legal in golf. But anyway, I'm jumping all over the place here. Just kidding. To jump some more, I'm a little shaken up right now. Actually, went out to dinner real quick, and then on the way home, witnessed a car and motorcycle collision on the highway. And it was bad. It was real bad. I think on adrenaline, I saw, like, I was probably 50 to 100 feet behind these people when it happened. And off adrenaline, I saw the biker somehow get up and move himself to the side of the road. But I hope he's okay. There were a bunch of people pulling off to check on him. So, and I didn't think I would be helpful because I would have just been panicking probably more than anybody there. So I just kept driving. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I'm a little shaken up by then. And now I'm just bouncing all over. So glad to be back on the show, though. Yeah. Sorry I missed Wednesday, guys. Sorry I missed Wednesday.
No, you had some places to be, and then you had, hey, happy anniversary today. Like that's.
Thank you.
I can't. If you were to choose the show over, the beginning of the show over your anniversary dinner, you might not ever come to another show again. So we'll just, it's just one of those things. So. Glad you're here.
6 years down, 3 kids already. So we're
putting in that work.
I did say tonight, if 6 years from now we have 3 more kids, something has gone terribly wrong. Terribly wrong.
Mayday, Scotty. He's making a shit ton of money. He will always be happy. I think you're talking about Phil. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he didn't get in too much trouble for the insider trading he was involved with years ago. But yeah, let's not dive into that.
But yeah, so Scotty, we have a lot of playoffs to talk about. Hockey, basketball, both off and running. We're going, and we're in it. So I'll let you do the honors, and we're gonna start wherever you want to start. So if that's the NBA or the NHL, you let me know, and we'll dive in.
Let's start NBA. Let's start NBA.
Let's do NBA.
Let's do it.
Okay. Luckily, I already have it queued up for us, so we're good to go. So we're going to dive into some of these series. Currently, Utah and Memphis just kicked off a few minutes ago. They're currently, let me see. Hold on. I got to adjust. We got some music in here. We got a little loud here. Let's turn this down a little bit. I mean, I love the music and stuff, but, let's tone it down. We want to be able to hear us too, son. All right. So we have the Memphis Grizzlies and the Utah Jazz coming in, and I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. Now, the Grizzlies did end up winning against the Golden State Warriors to make it into this game, which, it was a good game against the Golden State Warriors. They ended up, getting the better of Steph Curry, and the Warriors, they just ran out of gas. So
they got the better of the Warriors, not Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry was phenomenal in both playing games.
Yeah.
The Warriors, the rest of their team is just bad.
I'm surprised they got to where they got with the team that they have constructed as is. It's kind of wild. Yep. So big ups to them. But the Jazz are currently have a 28-17 lead over the Grizzlies here with 10:15 left in the second quarter. So right now, Mike Conley is leading the way for the Utah Jazz. Now, they're not playing without their number one star. Donovan Mitchell is out for this game. And honestly, I don't know. Considering how his injury, I mean, I think it was a hamstring injury is what they were calling it previously, but those injuries, you don't really come back from those very quickly. I want to say it's a hamstring injury.
I thought, in my mind, I thought it was an ankle. I think it's an ankle.
Oh, is it an ankle? I'm thinking, yeah. I might be thinking of Will Barton then from the Nuggets. But yeah, so as far as that goes, it's kind of trying to figure out when Donovan Mitchell is going to be coming back and healthy. So right now they're playing well without him, and they've played well without him over the course of the latter end of the season. So I'm not too worried about Utah, especially against Memphis. Memphis isn't going to be a great matchup for Utah. So I anticipate Utah getting through this series pretty easily, but I mean, you never know. So I think that
they've just been so good at home, like throughout the course of the season. Utah has that having home court alone should give them comfort. Where in Memphis is, this is their kind of first taste of the postseason in a while. Ja Morant, first time in the playoffs, so good for them. Like I think it's, people are upset that Steph's not in the playoffs, and I agree there, but it's not like Golden State was going anywhere. They just don't have enough pieces around him. He's a lot of fun to watch, so it'll be good to at least see a rising star like Ja Morant get his shot in the postseason and see what sort of things he can do, because he's a stud that people probably don't talk enough about. He's an up-and-coming star at that point guard position, so we'll see what he can do, but overall, I fully expect Utah to win this series.
Yeah. Another series that I think I fully expect them to just do work and make this a quick series is that Philadelphia 76ers, so Mayday's boys, in the Eastern Conference. So they ended up getting a big win today, 125-118 over the Washington Wizards. Wizards are the same kind of situation coming in, ended up making it into the playoffs through the tournament. So they were able to make it to this game, and their reward is the number one seed Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this game, it was kind of out of hand when it came to Tobias Harris just having his way with this Washington Wizards team.
37.
Oh my gosh.
Did not see that coming. Neither did you, Mayday. Don't you lie to us.
Yeah, Mayday didn't see that coming either. I guarantee he didn't. Harris carried the top seed of Philadelphia offense with 37 points. Joel Embiid had 30 points for the 76ers, and they survived the sub-500 Washington Wizards, 125-118. And game 2 will be Wednesday in Philadelphia. So Harris scored 28 points in the first half. So he just came out lightning fast in this game. So he just started strong.
And ironically, Washington was up 1 at the break. So even it was good for Philly that Harris was doing that, because they needed a little bit of a wake-up call. Maybe had a little too much time. Sometimes, those teams that have a long break like Philadelphia did compared to Washington, who played 2 playing games, need a little kick to get going and get up to kind of that playoff speed. So it took them a bit of a half, but that third quarter they put up a 38 spot and kind of took control there.
Yeah. So this was not a surprise here going into game 1. So yeah, I don't really worry too much about the Philadelphia 76ers in this one. They should put the Washington Wizards away. The Wizards were borderline. They could have not even made the playoffs at all. So yeah, that's where we're at here. Another game that just wrapped up earlier this afternoon was that Lakers-Phoenix Suns game. Now, Phoenix ends up getting a win, 99-90 over the Los Angeles Lakers. This game was in Phoenix because Phoenix is the higher seed in this series. So they get that home court advantage. They get those first couple games. Now, there was a scary moment with Chris Paul potentially coming out of the game. He ended up having this. It didn't even look that bad when you see it. But, everyone was kind of huddled around him and everything. He ended up being fine. And I believe he came back into the game. When was that? That was, I think, 3rd or 4th.
He kind of was in and out, and he didn't play great.
Yeah, it was
after that.
not a great. I mean, maybe that was just him. I think it was a separate, or I think it was a contusion in his shoulder or something along those lines that ended up happening there. So, but this is. Go ahead.
I will reference my guy on Twitter, Pro Football Doc, former trainer in for the Chargers back in the day. Anyway, he on video said, even though it was announced as a shoulder contusion, he said more of a right shoulder subluxation with worry for labral damage. He said CP3 heroically returned, but play was understandably subpar. So it almost sounds like this isn't something that's going away for him, and he's either going to have to play through, or maybe today he was even just playing off adrenaline and he's not going to be able to. He might miss some time, so it'll be interesting to watch that one. Obviously, I'm not a Lakers fan, so I want Chris Paul in there. I want the Lakers to get swept if possible. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch, because without Chris Paul, obviously, that's a huge loss for Phoenix. So we'll see what happens on that front.
Yeah, and by the way, just Phoenix in general. This is the first playoff appearance for several Phoenix Suns players, including Devin Booker, Ayton, Michael Bridges. They didn't look like postseason rookies to me going up against the Laker team. Now, I know the Lakers are definitely banged up. Like, for a fact AD's banged up. For a fact LeBron's banged up. I mean, he's obviously has that eye issue, right? from that previous game.
My gosh.
By the way, I want to share something with you guys.
Yeah.
This is something that I saw, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but this here, I just want to show you real quick this meme right here. Time spent on the ground after an injury. 36 seconds after being hit in the face with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball, blood pouring out of your face. 78 seconds after tearing an ACL, MCL, and suffering other knee damage. 78 seconds. 80 seconds after getting poked in the eye for LeBron. And not only that, he was milking it after the game. So here's what was weird about it was he went to 2 or 3 different post-game interviews and was like, I'm seeing 3 rims. I shot at the middle one. Like, come on, man. Like, Stop it. It's so ridiculous. He's embarrassing himself. And Scotty, I'm going to tell you something here. Now, I know I'm a LeBron guy. I've historically been a LeBron guy. There's something that's changed with he's done this a little bit throughout his career, but there's something that's taken to a new level since he's been in LA that just takes what he's accomplished up until this point, and it just bugs the shit out of me. The fact that he does what he does, and I've always been I defend LeBron here and there. I make it so that, I appreciate greatness, but he's turned into a different animal in LA where even I'm just like, come on, man. Come on.
Did you see today? His flop today?
I didn't see part of that game, no. I was but
he missed a free throw, and Chris Paul came in from the 3-point line to box out LeBron on the free throw. And Chris Paul fouled him. He grabbed his arm a little and pushed him out with his butt or whatever, but LeBron fell to the ground and was clutching at his shoulder as if he'd been just shot in the arm. And I'm like, stop it, man. Like, stop doing this. Like, this isn't football. Football? Is that how you say it? I mean, it's not helping your popularity to just, like, does he think in his mind, like, this makes him look more heroic that he's winning with an injury? But when you see these things on replay, you're like, dude, that was not that bad. Like, you're fine. There's no way you're injured off this. Stop playing into this game and, like, stop. Anthony Davis is a 7-footer that falls to the ground constantly. Love to see him go 5 for 16 for 13 points today. And LeBron was only 6 of 13. They combined for 11 field goals in that game. Like, and each only got 5 and 6 free throws. Like, They didn't play great. LeBron had 5 turnovers in the game. Love to see it. No one on their team scored 20 points. LeBron led them in scoring today with 18. So only put up a 90 spot. This series is going to be, if Chris Paul is playing, like right now, the odds on this series are LA's like minus 122 and Phoenix is like even odds. If Chris Paul's healthy, I don't know why you wouldn't put money on Phoenix. This is not the Lakers team. They're just not in sync. This is not the Lakers team that won the NBA Finals last year. Not even close. Not even close.
About to say, just looking at the stat lines between like LeBron and Anthony Davis to start out that game in the play-in tournament, where they just started out. I mean, at one point it was like, for me, I was like, is AD and LeBron like point shaving at this point? They had awful first halves. Like when this was the Wednesday night, and I was just like, there's something wrong here where they each were in sync. Like Caruso went into halftime, the leading scorer on that team with 12 points. And I was just like, something, either those two are really, really hurt, or they're point shaving, or something's happening here that doesn't make any sense. And so the fact that LeBron finished with 18 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds today, so not great. I mean, close to a triple-double, but not a great triple-double at that. Anthony Davis, 5 of 16 from the field, 13 points. Those aren't performances that I would expect from the Lakers, and there's something going on there. Lakers shot 7 of 26, 27% from three-point range. It was just a ton of missed shots for them. And so, man, I don't know. I just think Phoenix has a really good shot here. And, I mean, before the series started, I was like, why would you not bet on the Phoenix Suns to win this series with the value you're getting to pick them as a 3 seed? Or a 2 seed, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was kind of strange. Mayday, wimp, calling LeBron a wimp. Yeah, that's totally valid. And then also, how do you feel about the Denver loss? We're going to get into the Denver loss in a minute. I have some thoughts there. They don't have Green and Dwight, the secret weapons. So, yeah, they don't have... So, Dwight Howard isn't... I mean, he's just a guy that just goes in and just, like, ruffles feathers up real quick. You know, that's kind of his job. But
which would have played really well. DeAndre Ayton was 10 of 11 today. I think Dwight Howard would have been the perfect guy to insert there and make him a little uncomfortable. Like, DeAndre Ayton was just getting whatever he wanted. I mean, he only had 11 shots, but he was 10 of 11 from the field, comfortable. He had 16 rebounds. Like, he dominated on the inside. And Dwight Howard would have been a nice piece to have. They don't have that. They wanted to instead go with Harrell, Montrezl Harrell is a great regular season player, and he's just not a postseason guy to me. He just doesn't have the size. He played 15 minutes and had 12 points today, so he didn't play bad offensively, Harrell, but I don't know. He doesn't do it for me. After watching him with the Clippers last year against the Nuggets, like, he's just not a playoff type player. He's more of a regular season energy guy, which kind of what Dwight Howard is. But Dwight Howard's a giant human being that can affect shots a lot more than Harrell can, who's a little undersized for a center. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. By the way, if you guys are here, hit that follow button, hit that like button. Make sure that you're joining us here every Wednesday and Sunday. Again, we're having fun talking some playoffs, so keep those comments rolling. Mayday, love it. Deb, thank you for participating in the chat. Love all you guys. So yeah, that Lakers series. Do we want to just do it? Do we want to just dive into that Nuggets series right now?
If we must.
I don't know. I don't feel bad about the series. Let's just put that out there first.
Not yet. No.
I think when it comes to this series, it's long from over. I don't like how we came out in Game 1 in this series. Now, this definitely... It was a tough one here, and we didn't have... Will Barton was kind of those question mark of whether or not he's going to play. He should be coming back in this series from what we've heard from Coach Michael Malone, but the Nuggets ended up getting a loss, going down 0-1 to the Portland Trailblazers, losing at home 123-109. Now, this game was close-ish throughout most of the game. Portland ended up taking a 35-30 lead into the second quarter. The Nuggets outscored the Portland Trailblazers 31-23 in the second. So then, the Portland kind of pulled away in the second half. That third quarter, giving up 38 points to Portland, was where we kind of struggled there. Now, Damian Lillard, 34 points, 13 assists. I mean, he was great. One of those performances.
He was 10 of 25. I mean, he played well and he hit some big shots, but he was also 10 of 25 from the field, which is 40%. So I don't think Lillard was the difference. It was some of those other pieces, like I'm sure you were going to dive into Melo in that first quarter. Anthony Simons was 4 of 5 from 3 for him. Like, it's some of those other pieces that just, I mean, they were 19 of 40. The difference was the 3-point line. Like 19 of 40 from 3 for Portland, and the Nuggets were 11 of 36, including Michael Porter Jr. is one of the top 10 3-point shooters in the game, went 1 of 10. So I'm hoping that as the series goes on, and obviously Portland and the Denver hadn't played in a long time, but that Portland's a better shooting team than Denver is. Portland's the second best 3-point shooting team in the NBA this year, based off the stats. So them having fresh legs going into this, that's going to help a shooting team. But as you get into the grind of a series, your legs get a little more tired. Those outside shots don't continue to fall, and it goes into getting some of those more easy buckets, which the Nuggets outscored them 52-38 in the paint. So and we're hanging in for it was a 2-point game with like a minute left in the third quarter, and then Portland went on a quick 8-0 run to make it a 10-point game in the fourth. And then I think the Nuggets cut it to 4 pretty late, but couldn't get closer than that. And, everyone, on the Portland team shot the ball pretty well outside of Norman Powell. Like, everyone else on the team was just hitting. Simons was great. They only played 8 guys. So not a ton of depth. Nuggets went 10 or 9 deep in this game, and that's with obviously a bunch of guys out. So, it's a tough matchup for the Nuggets in the sense that, like, the guard matchup in this is just absurdly slanted towards, you look at the starting guards with Lillard and McCollum versus, we started Campazzo and Rivers. Like, Rivers was not on a team before we signed him a little while ago, and Campazzo's in his first year, and he made some energy plays, and I think he got in Lillard's head a little bit at some times, doing what you say he does best, just kind of being like bothersome and creating some turnovers. So he played fine. He only shot the ball 4 times, but he was 3 of 4. But he had a couple nice passes back to back that cut into a lead. But overall, the Nuggets you look at Michael Porter had the craziest stat line ever in this game. 12 of 21. When you look at 12 of 21 for 25 points, you're like, oh, he played well. Didn't get any free throw attempts. But he was 11 of 11 from 2-point range and 1 of 10 from 3. So, something's got to give there. He's not going to go 11 of 11 from 2, but he's also never going to go 1 of 10 from 3 again. Like, he was, a 45% free throw shooter on the season. So, we'll see. I mean, game 2 is going to be huge. If they lose game 2, then we got some problems for sure.
Yeah, so I thought there was a couple things here that stood out to me. One, I loved Campazzo's energy, and I loved the fact that he hit a couple threes early on in the game to get going. He's a small version of Jokic when he has the ball. Like he's like if you were to take Jokic and shrink him down and just give him a little bit of speed. I mean, you obviously take away the shooting ability because he can't shoot like Jokic can. But I mean, he's a guy that can facilitate a lot, and I really like how he plays the game. On offense and defense, he just is everywhere. He gets some of those awkward, loose balls. He chases those guys down as well. Loved how he played. I think he's going to get better and better. Like, over the course of the next couple of years, I think he has a lot of room to grow. So I'm excited what he's going to be. And then Jokic only had 1 assist in this game, and that's mainly because I think Portland is just taking away. They're saying, all right, we'll let Jokic beat us. We're not going to let anyone else beat us. And I think that's kind of how, they kind of tailored their game plan a little bit. That's, I think, what their coach ended up saying a little bit too. Like, Jokic is going to get his no matter what. But, he really gets the team involved and gets their energy up when he's able to facilitate. So when you double team him and he gets other people involved, that's when they start getting in their rhythms and their offensive schemes that they really like doing. But Jokic did not. He had some trouble, and he mentioned this in the post-game conference that's what they were giving him. So he was just taking shots, and he, had the availability to do so. He liked a lot of those ISO plays that, he was having his way with whoever was guarding him. So that was standard, right? But yeah, they were taking away some of those other options that he usually, uses to kick out and get other people involved. So it was interesting there to see him only have 1 assist. I think it was like the first time since, let's see, there was a stat that I saw at one point where the last time he only had like 1 assist, it was against Portland, and it was like a long time ago. I could be wrong. I think I saw that stat somewhere. But Carmelo Anthony had a crazy game that like I don't think he'll have another one like that again. Like
that first quarter was stupid. He cooled off after that, but he was on fire at the end of that first quarter, and that was, and then the Nuggets crowd booed him, which was interesting. Not that it didn't work with Portland's strategy with Joker of making him do it and not giving him the option to pass, but the rest of the guys on the team shot essentially 50% from the field. So it's not like the rest of Joker shot 14 of 27, and the rest of the team shot 33 of 67. So basically 70 or 50%. So the other guys did fine. Now they missed shots actually when Joker fed him. So that's partially why he had 1 assist, is like off of Joker passes. I think the team was like 1 of 10 off his passes when they took shots that could have been assists. So I think it's a little overblown. If they're gonna give him where he can just go 1-on-1, I think they think he's gonna tire out, but he never does. Like, he doesn't tire out. That's not really a thing that's happened in his career. I know when you look at him, you're like, that dude's going to get tired, because he doesn't look, although he looks a lot more in shape than he did at some points of his career. But I don't buy into that. I mean, the reason they lost is they gave up 123 points. Like, True. Let's be honest. Like, 19 threes. When you give the other team 19 threes in a game, you're not going to win almost ever. Obviously, the free throw line was a difference here. 18 of 19 for Portland. What was it? 4 of 8 for Denver. That's an interesting stat that is a little bothersome. Home court, you outscore them in the paint 52-38, and you only get 8 free throws to their 19. And it wasn't like we were fouling them late, that's where that separation came. So only getting 8 free throw attempts is something I'm sure Denver's submitting to the league. Like, Joker alone should have had 10 on his own. Like, he never gets whistles for a guy that's going to be MVP. It's pretty wild. Yeah. So we'll see how that continues to play out, but I don't love the fact that they only got 8 free throws in a game where they were more aggressive at scoring inside than Portland, and Portland went for 19. But Portland was the better. Just they made shots, and that's what wins you games in the NBA a lot of times, is making shots. They did. Despite overall shooting a lower percentage, despite the Nuggets out rebounding him, despite a lot of these different things that should have gone in the Nuggets' favor. But overall, we'll see what happens. Tomorrow's going to be a big one. Nuggets can't afford to lose 2 at home to start this series. So
yeah,
big pressure on tomorrow.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, and something else popped up, just like, you mentioned it, like towards the latter end of the season of, Michael Porter Jr. creating his own shot. I felt like he took I think he takes a lot of shots that he makes harder than they need to be. Like, he does a lot of off balance, like fading away 3-pointers and things that I feel like he's going to grow out of eventually, and he's going to be able to get a better, feeling shot. And he makes these, don't get me wrong, he makes these a lot of the time. But I just think he makes these shots maybe a little bit higher level of a difficulty than they really need to be sometimes. It's just, some of them are just he gets the ball, and we saw this actually a couple times where he hadn't had the ball in a while, and he gets the ball, and it's like he's never seen the ball all day, and he just shoots it. Just the first thing he does, it's getting jacked up. And
he still has that mentality a little bit where, and they mentioned on the broadcast, I think Vince Carter talked about it, that he still is a little young and basically decides, all right, I haven't got the ball and shot in a few minutes. The next time I get the ball, I'm going to put it up.
Yeah.
whether it's a good shot or not. And like you said, he can make difficult shots, maybe better than anyone I've seen, outside of Bubble Murray. um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, a lot of when he misses, it's a bad look. So in 1 of 10, he did fire up like 3 in the last like minute or two of the game last night from 3, where it was just kind of like, they were losing, they weren't good looks, but he still missed. So he's got to figure that out. I think he will. He's fine. And it was cool to see Murray as enthusiastic as he was on the bench. Like, that dude is a team player. He's passionate. You got to love that. So
he'll be a coach one day.
Hopefully.
And, I mean, the hat, everything. There's a meme that came out of it with that one call, and he was just like that's going to be a meme everywhere soon enough.
Well, that call was absurd.
It was ridiculous.
It was right before the half, and it was a crazy bad call.
Also, too, Deb in chat, I thought it was awesome when Michael Malone corrected the person interviewing him when she called him Mike. Highlight of the night. Yeah, it was kind of an awkward moment. I actually replayed it.
No, if you like awkward if you like awkward situations, you're gonna love that, which I do often like awkward situations, so it didn't bother me. Some people were like, oh, he shouldn't have done that, or he hasn't corrected other people. Maybe true, maybe not. Like, he was also probably frustrated at that point because they just went off a bad run at the end of the third quarter. But at the same time, she came out, the girl Cassidy came out on Twitter and was like, I get Michael Malone, like, my name's not Cassie. So she's a Cassidy. People call her Cassie. She doesn't want to be called Cassie. So at the same time, she gets it. So I didn't know he didn't I'm a Nuggets fan, and I didn't know he didn't want to be called Mike. Like, I didn't know that. So I don't blame it. People are like, she should have known. And I'm like, people, like, I saw clips of like his best friend, like Popovich, his best friend who's a coach in the league, calling him Mike and Mikey in like a post game thing. So I don't know.
I mean,
but he has been interviewed at other times, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
nobody knew.
Our local radio station calls him Mike all the time, on both radio channels here locally. And like Mike Malone, Coach Mike Malone, coach of the Nuggets. Like, no one, it's kind of a random thing, but it was kind of funny though. So that's how we feel about the Denver Nuggets there with that outcome. But just to go around a little bit further here, we did have a couple other games today in the NBA. Now, the one of the closer games of the day was that New York and Atlanta game, which I wasn't as super hyped to see this series. I mean, Atlanta doesn't really do it for me. They don't really like punch that like ticket for me that say, oh, I really need to catch the Atlanta Hawks.
Trae Young's pretty.
Yeah, he's fine, and they have
not even Trae.
I mean,
no, he's more than fine. He's more than fine.
No, don't get me wrong. I think Trae needs to have a little bit. He needs to have some guys around him a little bit more, and they got some decent team there. But I just, for some reason, I just don't like. I don't go out of my way to watch a Hawks game. Like, Trae Young is.
Oh, you're right.
He's just not it for me. Like, the Knicks, they're an up and coming, but they don't really move the needle for me, even if they've had a great season. This is the first great season they've had in a long, long time. So it's kind of interesting, but it's just a matchup that I'm not excited about. But it was a 107-105 game that came down to the wire today. So, that game ended up living up to, or not than I would have ever expected it to be. I was prepping for the show in the last little bit, but Trae Young hits the runner with 0.9 seconds left to lift the Hawks past the Knicks in this game. So the crowd had waited 8 years to see another Knicks playoff game, and Trae Young just kind of put that to bed towards the end of it there. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. But what are your thoughts here on this series? Do you? What do you think?
I was a little surprised. Like, the Hawks were not a good road team this year. I think they were like 15-20, 16-20 on the road, something like that. And the Knicks were a really, really good home team. I think 25-11. So I expected the Knicks to kind of handle business at home. Trae Young, great effort. He only took 3 threes in this game. 1 of 3 from 3, which I'd have to look. That's probably the least amount of attempts from three he's had in a game in his career. I feel like he's more to me Steph Curry like than anyone else in the league. Like he reminds me of Steph more than anybody else. Kind of an undersized guy, probably even more so than Steph at this point in his career. But just quick release, can get hot, can create. Made the game winner on a floater that was a tough shot in the lane. Put up 32, 10 with 10 assists and 7 boards. So he was a huge playmaker for him in a game where some of their other guys didn't play even that great. Like no one else went for even 20, with Bogdanovich second in scoring at 18. So for the Knicks, I think why the hype in this series is all that, hey, New York, this flagship, NBA franchise is finally back in the playoffs. Everyone in New York's super hyped for it. They're back. This is going to happen. And Julius Randle, their guy who led them to the postseason, went 6 of 23 tonight. So, and they only lost by 2. So ultimately, I still expect the Knicks to win this series. I think they'll come out on top. But in a one that's probably going to go pretty deep, 6, 7 games, probably 7. But I think the Knicks probably pull it out at some point. But I don't think Randall will go 6 of 23 again. Like no one on their team. RJ Barrett was 6 of 15. Their bench actually played better. Derrick Rose was solid, 8 of 16. Alec Burks, CU boy, 9 of 13, 27 points. So he went off. He went off and kept him in the game. But I don't know. I think New York still will pull this out, but I think Trae Young's a lot of fun to watch. But you're right. Outside of Trae Young on that team, like I could go without watching anybody else on that team. Like they're like a similar team to this year's Golden State Warriors to me. Like not a ton of like great pieces around him. Like some okay guys, Capella at center, fine. Collins at power forwards, fine. Gallinari's coming off the bench, but he's kind of just like I don't know. He's kind of past his prime. And I was, even when he was a Nugget, I wasn't ever fully sold on Gallinari, and he was super injury prone as well. So,
yeah. And
he was 3 of 11 for 1 and 1 of 7 from 3 today. So it's going to be a tight series. So there's where like it makes its hay. But as Mayday probably assumes, whoever wins this series is going to be one and done, because they're going to run into that Philly juggernaut after this. So
yeah. No, keep in mind, by the way, I want to give a quick update. Grizzlies have taken the lead over the Utah Jazz 49-43. So
wild.
So
wild.
I'm the biggest, by the way, I'm the biggest Grizzlies fan. Like I don't really root for like top teams to like get knocked out, but I've just, for some reason,
okay.
You know me. I've been telling people all season long, the Jazz are fool's gold. So I just want that validity to just come to the surface, and I want the Grizzlies to just make me just look that much better when it comes to me being right on those predictions of everyone hyping over the Utah Jazz. You had like commentators saying, Charles Barkley and some of these guys, they're like, oh, Jazz are going to win the championship. They're one of the best teams. Like, no, they're not. Then obviously they need Donovan Mitchell too, but this game is far from over. Who knows? But I would love for the Grizzlies to push this team really close to the edge here. So, real quick, just a highlight here. I want to highlight. So there's a couple of games that we didn't see yesterday that we saw yesterday that we didn't talk about. Nets, obviously, we're not going to spend a lot of time on the Nets. 104-93 over the Celtics. We know the outcome of this series before it even starts. It's probably going to be potentially a sweep, if not a 5. The Celtics may take one game, maybe. The Bucks and the Heat was a closer game. That came down to the final stretch there, and it was a crazy finish with Middleton draining the game winner to give the Bucks game 1 win in overtime over the Miami Heat. So that was a fun, exciting game. I didn't expect it to be, but it turned out to be a fun one. So that's going to be an interesting series as well. Miami Heat, just like last year, all of a sudden have played a little bit better than they did in the regular season and the postseason. So, Duncan Robinson was the leading scorer for the Miami Heat there. So they did some good things. Chris Middleton, 27.6 rebounds, 6 assists, including that said game winner. So the Bucks end up taking a 1-0 series lead. But one of the bigger surprises of yesterday was the Mavs beating the Clippers, 113-103, coming out strong. Now, Kawhi Leonard ended up coming out leading the game with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists for his Clippers. Luka finished with a triple-double, 31, 10, and 11. So obviously he was ready to play. But I was looking a little bit at some of the, just the box score here, because I watched part of this game. I didn't catch the whole game because I had some things going on. But, I looked straight at Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to see how they performed, because obviously this has been the big focal point for the Clippers over the last,
playoff P.
Now, Paul George was 8 for 18 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3, 23 points, 6 rebounds. So not a bad game for him, 5 assists. So, he played 40 minutes there, and then Kawhi Leonard played 41 minutes, 26 points, 9 for 22 from field goal percentage, and 1 for 6 from 3. So, not great performances, but not up to the standards that they should be putting up. I think, obviously 26 and 23 is pretty good for those two guys, but
3 of 14 from 3 is where they hurt themselves between those two.
Yeah. And so that's, a surprising outcome in LA. The Clippers, I don't know. I think they should win this series, but man, the fact that they came out slow like this, I don't know. It's a little bit worried. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon that they're going to win this series by any means, because I think they are the better team, but it's not a great way to start.
I'll do it then.
You're jumping off you don't think they're going to win the series?
I'm not jumping off their bandwagon because I was never on it, but I'll take Dallas. I'm sorry. The Clippers are so soft. Like Paul George screams soft. They just don't. And Kawhi Leonard's not soft, but I don't know. Is it weird that when he was in Toronto and they won that championship, people talked about him being the best player in the league, and now all of a sudden in 2 years in LA, that talk's died down tremendously, right? No one really talks about Kawhi even close to being the top player in the league. So I don't know. There's just something off about them. This is a game that they could have easily won, but no one really in their lineup outside of George and Leonard. Their starting lineup, first of all, is weird with Marcus Morris and Zubac and Beverly. It's a weird starting lineup because some of their bench players like Ibaka and Rondo and Reggie Jackson are probably better than some of those players. So the whole fit, Tyronn Lue, I don't know if he, everyone wanted to blame coaching last year. Now they have a new coach in Lue, but they still don't seem to have figured it fully out, in my opinion. There's just something off there. There's something off. Paul George in the playoffs, playoff P is a joke. I don't even know why that's a thing. It shouldn't be a thing, or it should be a thing in a negative light.
100%.
Because he has not performed in the playoffs. He's never done anything to warrant a playoff persona that's above what he does in the regular season, because he plays better in the regular season. So we'll see. Obviously, Luka. This is a rematch of a first round matchup last year that went 6 games. I think Dallas is a little bit better this year. Now they have the experience. Now that they know what's going on, and Porzingis is healthy, although he didn't play well in Game 1, and they still won. Porzingis was 4 of 13, didn't play well, and they still got the W. So, granted, some of their other starters played really, really well. Tim Hardaway Jr. played well. Finney Smith played really well. So, we'll see if that can continue. But
Maxi Kleber, he can turn it on fast too. He's a guy that can drain threes. He can turn it on quick, and he had a poor game. Not a poor game. I guess he just didn't get enough touches and things. He only had 6 points, 1 for 3 from the field, 1 for 2. He was 50%, 1 for 2 from 3. So
yeah.
He affected the game in other ways. 9 rebounds, 4 assists. But yeah,
I'm on the Dallas train. I'm taking Dallas in this one. I'm taking Dallas to win this series.
Which makes it even harder for me, the fact that like a Dallas Mavericks team is coming out and putting some pressure on the Clippers. The fact that the Phoenix Suns are a team putting some pressure on the Lakers, which they should. The fact that the Memphis Grizzlies so far are putting pressure. All the top seeds, the Lakers, the Clippers, and you know where I'm going with this. Lakers, Clippers, Jazz are all struggling in their opening round series so far. If we had Jamal Murray, man, you know where I was going with that. It hurts. This could have been that year, and I don't want to. It's not one of those things where I want to just get the easy road to the championship. But at the same time, it's like taking advantage of an opportunity isn't the worst thing either. So just my 2 cents there. But
yeah, I knew you were going. We could have, right now Utah's losing. Who knows? We could have a second round of Memphis, Phoenix, Dallas, and Denver, Portland winner.
Yeah.
And the NBA would just shit themselves because they don't want that. That would be the exit of the 2 LA teams, and they don't want that at all. But I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah.
They're not fun teams to watch. They're not exciting teams to watch, those LA teams. It's all about the market and the popularity of like LeBron and the star power. So I'm good with it. Let's eliminate both those LA teams in the first round and move on with our lives.
Oh man, ESPN would shit a brick. It would be Fox Sports, ESPN. They would just be, and not to mention what if randomly Brooklyn gets knocked out on the eastern side by Philadelphia or something, and it's like there goes another one.
Nope.
Hey, go Sixers, go Grizzlies, go Dallas, Phoenix. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. You would have that meme that I sent you with Adam Silver running down the trying to save the playoffs somehow.
Yep.
But tomorrow's games, though. Let's dive into tomorrow's games. We'll keep you updated on that Memphis and Utah game here as we continue on through the last section of our show here. But Miami Heat and Bucks continue their series tomorrow. Again, Milwaukee leads that series 1-0. So that'll kick off tomorrow, 5:30 Mountain Time, 7:30 Eastern. And then the Nuggets play right after. It's not a late game because they always give us the late game. It's an 8 o'clock start, not an 8:30 start. So I'll take it. But those games don't ever start on time. They're always like
8:15.
Yeah. So Trailblazers play the Nuggets here. So hopefully the Nuggets right now 1.5 point favorites. That's about what they were in the first game. We'll see how they can rebound from that first game loss at home and try to split this home series here 1-1 tomorrow night. So over under in that game, by the way, is 227. So they think it's going to be a little bit of a higher scoring game as well. But
take the over.
Take the over 100%. But let's go ahead. Let's we not only do we have we had the NBA kickoff here, but we have the NHL. So the NHL playoffs here. Just brought up the bracket here. Now we already have one bubble filled in the second round, and that is the Colorado Avalanche. We'll touch on them here shortly, but let's go through some of the scores today. There was actually a great game. Mayday brought it up a little bit earlier, and it was that Nashville-Carolina game. I watched that game because it went to double overtime, and I was forced to watch it. Not that I don't like watching that series, but when you don't have any other games to watch because you don't have NHL Network, you're kind of screwed into watching that game anyway. So it ended up being a fantastic game, don't get me wrong. I really wanted to watch my Avs, but the Predators ended up winning in double overtime, getting a goal to take a 4-3 win in this game 4. So right now the series in that Carolina Hurricanes, Nashville Predators series is 2-2. And this is something I didn't expect. We thought the Hurricanes were going to dominate this series. The Hurricanes have been one of the better teams, all season long, and Predators are giving them a little bit of a trouble spot here.
Yeah, I mean, I think now Nashville's won the last 2, so I think Carolina jumped out to 2-0 lead in this series, and Nashville's won the last couple. This is a 1-4 matchup. So we thought Carolina was going to take this pretty easily. The shots today were 61-43 in favor of Carolina, but also Carolina had 4 power plays to Nashville only had 2 power plays over 5 periods, which is pretty wild. They got a power play goal on one of those. This series is all of a sudden really interesting, and that's why I think it's so important that like the Avs
make your next virtual event a splash.
So if they do win this next series, there could be a team that advances to this Final Four or whatever that's, not overall like a great team that just got hot a little bit, but will be completely overmatched when they face the Avs like St. Louis just was. So that's why I think it's great the Avs have that 1 seed. We'll see what happens here, but, the NHL playoffs are unpredictable. So while the Avs rolled, they were the only team to sweep. There was actually one more finished off series today. Boston finished off Washington 4-1 with Game 5 today. They won 3-1 in that to finish off the Capitals. So the Boston, the 3 seed, beat the Capitals, the 2 seed, pretty handily in a 4-1 matchup there. So we got 2 teams advanced. Other results today, like Winnipeg went up 3-0 on the Oilers. There's another 2-3 matchup that the Jets are the 3 seed, the team that didn't perform as well in the regular season, but all of a sudden up 3-0 on Edmonton. Yeah, go ahead.
That game was crazy. So Oilers were in the driver's seat the entire first period, 2-0 to start out the first period. They go into the second. Up to, obviously, they end up splitting the second, 1-1. So they go into the third 3-1, and the Jets just turn it on. And just, we've seen some crazy games. We saw that initial game against the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, where it was like, one was up by 1, and all of a sudden it flipped to, Florida being up by 1, then it flipped back to Tampa Bay being, it was just back and forth. We've seen a couple series that have been similar to that, where it's just like, man, it's just back and forth. Like, just when you think a game is over, I mean, Oilers going into the third period up 3-1, man, all of a sudden it just disintegrates in front of their eyes, and it's just like there's been some wild games in this playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of these series are back and forth. That Penguins Islanders series that we actually picked the Islanders to win. That game, that's at 2-2 right now. That's back and forth. That one can go either way. Pretty evenly matched teams. Toronto got upset in their first game against Montreal. Montreal is like a team that probably is, in my opinion, the worst team to make these playoffs, but did get the win against Toronto, the 1 seed in that Canadian division in Game 1. Toronto bounced back in Game 2 and won handily 5-1. But so they're at 1 game apiece. These playoffs are also weird that like the Avs are already done with their series, and like the Maple Leafs and Canadiens have played 2 games in their series. So and that could go 7. So it's all out of whack a little bit. The potential matchup for the Avs between the Wild and Golden Knights, that looked for a second like the Wild won Game 1, Golden Knights won Game 2. Then the Wild jumped out in Game 3 to a 2-0 lead before giving it up, and the Golden Knights pulling it out there, and then also winning Game 4. So it looks like we're gonna have that matchup that everyone's thought, and possibly the 2 top teams in the NHL going at it in the next round with the Avs and the Golden Knights. But from the Avs vantage point, I mean, to get a sweep is just phenomenal.
Huge.
The goaltending against them was really, really solid. But man, the talent on the ice was just noticeable. How much more talented the Avs were, and how much deeper they were. McKinnon looks like when it gets into playoff time, McKinnon becomes clearly the best player on the planet. Like, Nathan McKinnon just looks like a different creature out there. Like, he's so good. He reminds me so much of Peter Forsberg. Like, Forsberg, like, you could just tell he was different out there all the time. And McKinnon has that Forsberg trait to me that I just love to watch. Like, he's so fun to watch, and he dominated in this series and was the best player on the best team in this series, which is what you want. You want your top guys playing well. But the Avs, depth-wise, are playing well. Gruby had a good first round, played really well. Nothing overly soft that he gave up, and everything looks great for the Avs right now. They took care of business against a team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. So not exactly a team that's just an easy walk-through opponent, and they swept them. So
yeah,
great job by the Avs.
Yeah, no. So by the way, you mentioned Nathan MacKinnon, who's been on a tear.
Yeah.
He showed no signs of rust after missing the last 5 games with a lower body injury. Let's just throw that out there. Let's say he's still hurt and he's still putting up together these numbers. That's terrifying for other teams, right? And so he had a 3.9 in game 1. 3.9 gives it 22 goals, 35 assists, 41 career playoff games in that span, in 41 career playoff games. At that point, he had a 1.39 points per game average, which is the 4th highest in Stanley Cup playoff history, with at least 25 games played. He trailed at that point, in game 1, only Wayne Gretzky with a 1.84.
That guy's good.
Mario Lemieux, 1.61.
Also good.
And Barry Peterson, 1.53. Maybe not as well known as the other two.
Sure.
Now, take that into game 2. Now, Nathan MacKinnon finished with a hat trick in this one. At this point, he had a 1.45 points per game average in the postseason, which was again, he raised it from that 1.39 to 1.45. Still one of the highest in history of the NHL at that point. So, according to the league, MacKinnon is the 7th different Avalanche/Nordiques player with a postseason hat trick. Also was the first since Valery Kaminsky in Game 5 of the 1997 conference quarterfinals. So he is just absolutely insane. Every time I might just have to just buy his jersey. I'll put the jersey I have on my pedestal up on, I'll just let it go. I'll put my pipe dreams as having my reverse retro MacKinnon jersey out. I'll be done with it. I'll just have to buy a regular one because he's got my favorite number, 29. I was born on October 29th. So I love the number 29. It's always been one of my favorite numbers. And he's one of the best players, to play. First of all, he's arguably the best player to ever play in a Colorado Avalanche jersey.
Ooh, no. I mean,
arguably.
At the end of his career, let's let him win a Stanley Cup.
Okay, I'll give you that. Because
he has the potential. He has the potential to be in that conversation.
He's
Absolutely.
on his way.
He's not in that conversation yet because
you still got Peter. Well, you like Peter Forsberg as one of the best ever to play in an
Forsberg, I think, is the best Avs player ever. Obviously, Sakic is now their GM and a phenomenal guy, and they won obviously some Stanley Cups. So they both won 2 cups. So he can't be in the conversation yet. I mean, but he's so young. He's so young. What is he? He's 25 years old. So, long way to go. This postseason, he has twice as many goals as anyone else. So that seems good. He's got 6. Everyone else has 3 or less in all of the NHL. So 6 goals in 4 games. Seems pretty good. He's just the best player on the ice in all the playoffs right now and has a ton of talent around him. That line with Landeskog and Rantanen, with Makar and
it's like an all-star
why am I drawing and Taze on the back line?
Yeah.
That lineup literally could be close to like a starting all-star first line. Like that's how good it's the best lineup that anyone in the NHL could put on the ice, and it's not close in my opinion. So, and Gruby's played phenomenal so far. So they're gonna be incredibly tough to beat.
Now,
let's go.
The Avalanche are gonna be without Nazem Kadri, who, if you didn't know, he ended up having a big time penalty called on him, suspended 8 games for his check to the head of Blues defenseman Justin Falk in the 3rd period of Game 2. Now, this was kind of a brutal one because Kadri's had a history of this, of just bad penalties.
That's why he got 8 games.
That's why that was so severe. And Bednauer came out, said usually these types of things get 2 games, and it was just kind of a surprise to him. But it was a dumb play. I mean, I don't know why he had to do that, but he keeps putting his team. He did it last year. He put himself in a bad situation where he wasn't able to compete in some of the playoffs last season as well, based off of just some suspensions and different things. So it's been an issue. Who knows how this is going to affect him going into the offseason, but he's putting the team over and over in a situation where they're trying to win a championship, and they need everybody they can have to kind of give that depth to what they're trying to do, make a deep run. So just a side note there that he will be suspended for 8 games. The Blues, just a side note there, their 9,000 fans were nearly 50% capacity, will no longer be able to watch them play, but they were more fans than the Avalanche had at their games. 7,750 was what they had. Hopefully those numbers increase for the Nuggets and Avalanche moving forward. As we've mentioned, we think it could be a lot better from that standpoint. But otherwise, big ups to the Avs for making it to the next round. Now, I'm going to be watching a couple other series here. So, by the way, currently, I believe, let me double check and make sure I am not forgetting anything on the scoreboard for tonight. So, all the games have concluded. Jets beat the Oilers 5-4. Bruins beat the Capitals to move on, as we've mentioned, 3-1. The Avalanche won and moved on 5-2. Predators 4-3. Tomorrow's games, we have some really good ones. So the Islanders are going to be playing the Penguins. That's the first game of the slate tomorrow night. That series is tied 2-2. So it's going to be in Pittsburgh. We'll see how that ends up unfolding in that game. Maple Leafs are a series tied 1-1. They're going to Montreal to play the Canadiens in that series. That game kicks off at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Lightning and the Panthers. This series, even though it's kind of one-sided towards Tampa Bay, 3-1 is the series lead for the Lightning. This series has not felt like it's like that lopsided. It feels like it's pretty even based on just watching these games. That game, that series is going to be a fun one to just close out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers came back. The Panthers are a really good home team. They didn't play good at home early on in this series, but they are still a really good home team. So a lot can happen here, and the Panthers could potentially take this to a Game 6 or even a Game 7, and it wouldn't shock me.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's going to be a lot of fun series. That Islanders Penguins series, I think, is going to be super fun to watch, and I expect that one to go 7. I think that one is a toss-up. Could go either way with those two teams. Some of these other ones, Golden Knights, very well could finish off the Wild tomorrow night, and the Maple Leafs Canadiens. I know it's 1-1, but I fully expect Toronto to take care of business there. So I think that the two series to look at right now in the first round is certainly the Islanders Penguins and the Lightning Panthers as the most intriguing and with potential there to be drawn out. But then again, Tampa could close out the Panthers tomorrow night as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then to close out tomorrow's slate of games in the NHL, it's going to be the Wild at the Golden Knights. That's a 8:30 start Mountain Time. That's a 10:30 start on the East Coast. So sorry for all you East Coasters out there. But I think that's going to be a fun game to watch regardless. I'm going to watch probably the first period or two to kind of get an idea of where that goes. Obviously, I have to work this week as well. I have a full-time job outside of this, guys. I think Scotty might have too. He kind of works for a team called the Rockies. So,
Stay hot Rocks.
Which, by the way, we'll be touching on here shortly as well. We're going to wrap up the end of our stream with some Mile High spotlight to make sure all of our Colorado locals here get some of the updates that are going on around the MLB, NHL, NBA, and NHL. What did I miss? MLB, NHL, NFL,
maybe
NBA. No, I got it. There we go.
You got them there. Major 4.
There we go.
Deb and Chad did say Ball Arena looked empty last night without fans on the lower level. Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I'd like for them to get a little more aggressive with their seating capacities. I know it's indoors, so death is indoors apparently. I don't know. I don't want to get too involved in the weeds with that talk and what's right and what's not, but it seems like we need to get to a point where we're allowing a little more than 7,000 into a place that holds 18. I don't know. I mean, I know from a Rockies vantage point, we masks were no longer required starting this weekend, and then we're moving to 70% capacity, so 35,000 starting June 1st, and by our last homestand that starts towards the end of June, we fully expect to be at 100% capacity, or hope to be, if everything trends that way, with the All-Star game in July certainly needing to be at 100% capacity here at Coors Field. So I know the indoors versus outdoors is different, but man, it'd be real nice to help these home teams out and get some more fans in there, just to make that more electric and even more of a difficult place for teams to play.
Yeah. I think it would be. It's always nice, man, when you hear the crowd and what's crazy to think is, a lot of the I've seen NHL and NBA post game interviews of players, and that crowd sounds electric on TV, like just the energy that they have for the home team, whoever's playing there, and if they get that win. I've seen a couple post game interviews where it sounds just as much full as it is if it was like a sold out game, and there's only half the stadium. Can you imagine if there was a full stadium of just? I think there's going to be so much hype when they're going to be able to sell out these stadiums again, and it's going to be a player during that time, whether you're NHL, NBA, NFL, people are just wanting to get out and just support their team and get crazy. It's going to be fun for those players when that is able to take place. By the way, Mayday in the chat, I know he might have popped off. It's been a while since we've heard from him, so he might be wrapping up his homework and hitting the hay, because I think, it is a Monday tomorrow. You got to get ready for those classes, right? He said, hit that follow button. They know when you don't do it. Yeah, we do. I mean, we don't hold it.
We know when you're here, and we will find you. We will find you, and we will hunt you down.
We're gonna go Liam Neeson on this thing, and we're gonna just we're gonna track you down and make sure that you hit that follow button. But no, we joke, but yeah, we don't joke. Hit that follow button, like he said. Do what you got to do. It's free, guys, and we are happy to have each and every one of you here just watching. But if you hit that free button, or that free, follow button.
Follow button.
Oh, it means so much to us, and we love you guys being a part of the Lab Rat crew. But let's move on right here. We have the Mile High Spotlight. So we already covered a lot on the Avs and the Nuggets, so we're probably not going to touch a lot there. I still want to make time for viewer's choice, and actually I want people to start throwing in their questions questions or comments on whatever they want to talk about. This is Sunday. We want to make sure whether you want to talk about sports, whether there's something on your mind, earlier I was saying I was getting into some gardening and stuff, and that's kind of a new thing for me. You missed it, Scotty. I got to talk to you about that too. It's a new thing.
I saw you. Did you post about it or something? You must have posted, because I saw something about you gardening. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which is not a lovely hobby that I don't understand, but good for you. There's a lot of people that love it.
I have a black thumb. I don't, people have green thumbs and they're great with plants. I got that black thumb. I kill everything, but I feel like this new thing, I'm gonna learn. I like cooking. I like to be a good cook. So that's kind of like a little hobby-ish kind of thing.
Sure.
And then this is gonna be one of those things where I'm just we're gonna see where it goes, but I'm enjoying it. So for everyone here, you can talk about whatever it is you want. Get it off your chest. It's Sunday. We have Monday ahead of us. So if there's anything that you've been holding in over the course of the week, the weekend, since Wednesday, since our last show, and you just want to just talk about things, whether you're pissed off at your team, whether you're hyped about a certain team, whether you did something new over the weekend. Hey, man, we like to hear about each and every one of those little things. So throw them in the chat right now, and we'll kind of go through those as we get, as we talk some of these other topics. But want to touch on the Colorado Rockies here. So Rockies this week kind of split the series, or split the week up in each series. So they get it's a week of sweeps between the Avs and the Rockies getting either swept or doing the sweeping. It's just kind of all over the place. But there's a lot of brooms in Colorado right now.
Yeah, I mean the Rockies, it's almost like who they play and where they play them greatly alters whether they can win or lose. You look at their record; they're 18-29, but they did get a sweep of Arizona, who's kind of fallen apart on the road. They're now 9-21 on the road, which looks pretty bad until you look at Colorado's record on the road. Colorado is 2-17 on the road. They're 16-12 at home. Like, they're a pretty good team at home. And they cannot score runs to save their life on the road. You look at those scores against San Diego, 1 run in 3 games. That's not going to get it done. And then they come home, they put up 7, 7, and 4. So I don't know. There weren't super obviously high expectations going into the season. They did, just with that sweep, surpass the Diamondbacks in the division. So no longer in last place in the division. A half game up on the Diamondbacks. But you look at they're 12 games back of first, and actually 10 games back of the third place team in the division. So you like to see some of these guys contributing. Today was a fun game. Story hit a walk-off home run in the 9th to win 4-3. That close 7-6 game. They're making plays and they're doing things with some of these younger guys. That Ryan McMahon's having a great year. The starting pitching staff has for the most part, and about to get Kyle Freeland back, been really, really solid. Bullpen has been rough. Very, very rough. But overall, they're 18-29 because they're 2-17 on the road. Like, I think I'm looking right now that they have 2 wins on the road. The second fewest wins on the road that any team has in all of baseball is 8. So the second fewest in all of baseball is 8. They have 2. Like, it's almost impossible to go 2-17 on the road. Like, you fall into some wins. It just hasn't happened. Obviously, and they've had 30 games at home and only 28 games at home and only 19 on the road so far. So home heavy, and they're barely out of the worst in baseball. So it's good to see a sweep. First 3-game sweep they've had all season. I think they had a 2-game sweep earlier on against Houston, but first 3-game sweep. So maybe they can carry that momentum as they head on the road this week for, I don't know if it's 6 or 7 games. Let's see. I know they're on the road until next Monday or next Tuesday, but where they go, they go to New York, which they've never fared well on the East Coast. They play your New York Mets coming up on the schedule, and then they're at Pittsburgh for 3. So 4 at New York, 3 at Pittsburgh before coming back home. So they need to start winning some games on the road. Like, it's depressing how anemic they've been offensively on the road. So we'll see what happens, but at least fun. At least when the home fans are in attendance, they put on a show a little bit, going 16-12 at home. So that helps people's mentality a little bit when they're watching games in person and they're there at the ballpark, they're watching their team win some. So
yeah, no, yeah, I think hey, just turn it around at home, or just across the board, home, on the road, both. Let's just get some, just even 50% better, with some of those losses that we're getting and experiencing, just to balance out our home and away record there. Oh man, that would make such a big difference in where we're at right now. So hopefully they can get that rolling on that front. But I wanted to get a little quick update here on on the NBA score that is still going right now. So
Utah-Memphis game.
That Utah-Memphis game. So Grizzlies are up 78-68, up 10 with 139 left in the third. So, man, like this one is kind of crazy in the sense that
Dylan Brooks is going off. Let's go Ducks.
Dylan Brooks, 29.7 rebounds, 2 assists to lead Memphis. He is on a mission, and he actually played really, really well in that last game with Golden State as well. So he's on a tear, man. If he can keep it rolling, that would be solid for them. And the Jazz haven't exactly closed the gap much on this one. So and actually we have a little. Give me a second here while I fix.
We lost you.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, hold on. Can you hear me?
Oh no. Yeah. You were just hidden behind me a little bit. That's all. I was just talking about your image.
I thought my stuff was lost there for a second. So
no, you're good.
Yeah. So right now, man, we have a crazy game here. We have a crazy game. Hopefully, it ends up panning out the way I hope it pans out, and they end up getting a solid win here. But go Grizzlies. What other is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? Throw it in the chat if you have anything that you want to chat about. Obviously, this is your time. The last few minutes of the show, we always like to open up to anybody who has any thoughts on anything. So it could be absolutely whatever you want. Throw it out there. We love to hear it. But Scotty, I don't think you mentioned you won't be on our next show. Is that correct?
I am in fact the worst. I'm out of town again on Wednesday, so I will not be on this Wednesday show. I'll be back for the Sunday show again. I'll be back. I get back Sunday morning, so I'll be back. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm the worst, absolute worst. I didn't plan on missing this last Wednesday, and then I don't even want to talk about like two Wednesdays from now. I'm out of town again, but and then I have no plans to go out of town at this point for the rest of the year, at least at this time. So it's just all collapsing on this short little span here crazily. So I apologize for that, guys, but I'll miss the Wednesday show, but I will be back ready to go on Sunday. Heading out for a golf trip on Wednesday. So looking forward to that, playing 6 rounds in like 3 days. So the golfer's dream. So playing a little random spot, but the John Deere, anybody that knows the John Deere Invitational on the PGA Tour, we're playing like 4 rounds there. So that'll be cool to play a course that's a PGA Tour event every year. So I'm sure I'll shoot even par there.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. I'm actually pretty jealous. I mean, I don't play a ton of golf, but I know that's going to be a fun trip regardless. So, you'll get a lot of golf action ahead. Hopefully the weather's good over there too, right?
Yeah, the first day we're supposed to golf, it looks like it might rain and like 20-mile-per-hour winds, which sounds a lot like the PGA Championship wind-wise this weekend. So I'm sure that'll fit into my game real well. I'll keep it low, Yeah. I don't have the ability to do that. So we'll see what happens. I've played like not a lot of golf in the last 6 months, so I don't have a ton of expectations, but nice guys trip, get out there, play some golf, have some drinks, just chill. Like, I love golfing. Like, golfing's my thing. Like, there's days where I can just go out and golf and have some drinks and just hang out and chill. Like, I love that stuff. So even if I play bad, I'm gonna have a good time. I've convinced myself of that.
No, I think it'll be a blast, man. I'm jealous. But otherwise, I will still be here with you guys here in the Action Lab. So we're going to have our Wednesday show. We're going to talk more updates on the playoffs. So we're going to have all those, new, playoff series updates, whether that's, series getting wrapped up in the NHL or whether that's some, teams making it, to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Because at that point, there should be 2 or 3 games in each series. So it'll be fun to see where we're sitting at that point. By the way, end of the Grizzlies, third quarter, 83-74. Still 9-point lead for the Memphis Grizzlies going into the fourth quarter, which is what we're looking for. But I will still be here. We'll have top stories. We'll touch more on this Phil Mickelson thing. We have a few other topics that we're going to be talking about. So we're going to prep all of that for you leading up to our Wednesday show. So make sure you're here for that. And one way to be here for that is by hitting that follow button and knowing when we're going live. Every single time we go live, you get that notification saying that, oh, Action Lab is going live here on 7:40 on a Wednesday instead of 7:30 or instead of whatever it is. Sometimes we're late, sometimes we're early. You just don't know. But if you have those notifications turned on, you know exactly when we're going live. So make sure you hit those follow buttons. If you're here and you're watching, thank you so much for being a part of the Action Lab. I want to throw a big shout out to Deb and Mayday and everyone in the chat that was in here participating, being a part of all of the festivities that we had going on in the show today. So thank you so much. Wanted to also give a shout out to Chad and Facebook chat who gave us a follow while we were offline. Thank you so much for being a part of the Action Lab team. Again, we're streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So you can find us in a lot of different places. Regardless if you follow us on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, it all means a lot to us. So make sure you're here, make sure you're participating, and it makes it fun for everybody because we love to see those familiar faces each and every week. We love our Maydays, we love Deb, we love all of our Nixon crew that pops in. We love all of those. Belly for Prez usually pops in. All you guys, thank you so much. So looks like we don't really have too much else rolling in, Scotty. So I think it's time to get off stream here. Let's go catch the end of this Memphis Jazz game, and then we'll be on to the new week. I hope everybody out there has a fantastic start of your week. Hopefully we can make it to Wednesday, midweek, have another show, and get through the Taylor end of the week. We do it every single week, and we're not going to stop this week. So hope you're with us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great week. Nothing like having playoff action in the NBA and NHL every single day, every night to keep us going and have a lot of content to provide for you and cover for you guys. So appreciate you guys. Deb in the chat, thanks for saying have fun. Have a good night, guys, and love you all, and we'll see you back. Chris will be here on Wednesday. I'll be back on Sunday, and appreciate